Welcome folks, my name is John Kim. Welcome to the GDTOLOGY Channel. Today's topic of discussion is what is a GDTP certification? Well, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers basically has created a certification. It's a worldwide certification used in such a way that basically is to get everyone on the same page. And what I mean by that is that, like I said on my previous videos, is that there's a lot of misinterpretation of GD&T. The most common things you'll hear is that, like, oh well, you know, when you use GD&T, it can be interpreted in many different ways. Now that's not true. What I'm really saying is that when you use GD&T, it's only interpreted one way, but there's many ways to write it. So now what the GDTP certification does is basically is to get, not only to get everyone on the same page, but is to really, how would you say, deem oneself as an expert, okay, as someone that knows. It's kind of like when you hire, let's say, a contractor. You've got those that are licensed and those that are unlicensed. Now, you know, if you're going to build a house, you definitely don't want to hire an unlicensed contractor. Why? Because they're probably not up to date on the latest standards. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying, you know, that's a possibility. And also, you know, you may, how would you say, they might not be very keen on, let's say, their understanding and also some of the principles used in, you know, designing, let's say, a house, for example. You know, one may say, oh, well, you know, I've done it for 20, 30 years, but who knows, that 20, 30 years may have been the wrong way. So what I'm really saying is that when you use GD&T seriously, you really want to, how would you say, be using experts that really know what the standards really saying. So now the GDTP is broken in two different certification levels. There's a technologist and there's a senior. I am senior certified in the 94 and the 2009 standard, but let me break it down for you guys. The technologist is basically anybody can take it. It's open to anybody. Basically, it's either on the 94 or the 2009 standard. What it does is basically what one needs to do is read the standard. Okay, don't read anything else. Just read the standard. Use other materials to, how would you say, to get a deeper understanding of the mathematical aspect of it. But the technologist, what it does is basically like just a general understanding of the standard. Basically, you want to read it and make sure you understand all the definitions. And like I said, it's open to everybody. But then you also have a senior certification. And now what this entails is that it's you need about 5 years of industry experience, being able, in other words, you have to at least work 5 years in some industry where you use it on a frequent basis. Also, you need 2 managers to approve that, hey, look, you know, this guy or this girl that's taking the GDTP senior does have 5 years experience. So you need like at least 2 people to vouch for you. And this one's way more in depth. You know, you really have to know what you're doing. They'll ask you questions on data features, picking the right ones, making calculations of a certain size and width of parts based on profile and geometrical type tolerances. What I'm really saying is that it's a really in-depth certification exam, and you do really need experience prior to take this exam. And who are the typical people that'll really do well? Typically, it's how would you say? It's designers. Also, it's inspectors. You know why? Because, you know, those folks are really there either trying to figure out what your datum features are, what geometrical tolerances to use, but also the inspector, who really knows how to inspect it, basically will understand datum simulators, what type of gauges to use, etc. So those are the 2 people that really understand GD&T down to the core, and that'll do really well on the senior certification exam. Now additionally, some may ask, well, how much does it cost? How long is it? Where do I take this? So first of all, cost. It's about $500 to take these exams, and you can take them, you know, anywhere. Basically, there's all these testing facilities that people go to take their LSAT, to take their GRE, to take all types of other exams, and basically the GDTP is given at one of these facilities. Also, so like I said, you can take it anytime you want throughout the year. It's about $500. And how long is it? Well, it's 6 hours. It's a total of 6 hours. It's 150 questions. Now, in most cases, most people finish maybe within 2 to 3 hours, depending on how much you've studied it. But from my experience, I just don't leave after 2 to 3 hours. I go back and review the questions, make sure I answer them correctly, and so I'll use up the entire 6. In addition to that, it's about a couple weeks to get your results, and you can retest. I forgot how many times. I think it's 2 or 3 times within a year or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was the number of times that you can retest. So that's some of the background in what the GDTP certification is. Well, many people ask, well, what does it do for me? John, why should I take it? Well, first of all, like I said, there's only, I want to say, about 2,000 people in the world that's really certified. I'm talking about both senior and technologists. And the thing is that it'll make you, how would you say, the expert in whatever department you're in. Let's say you're in inspection, or you're in quality, or you're in design. Having this certification really makes you the go-to guy or girl. Because when you're in, like I said, when you're in a manufacturing type industry, you got all these part designs coming together, and sometimes some parts don't fit together, or maybe your customer or vendor has a question like, hey, how do I inspect this, or what do you really mean by this? You're able to basically interpret what the issue is and address it right there. It's kind of like having an in-house attorney, right? You know how much of a pain it is to go out and find attorneys, and setting all this up. Some of these cases you do have to make lightning quick decisions. You don't have time to fart around for like 20 days and then finally get a question back. So what I'm really saying is that by having this certification, you do become the industry expert in your department or whatever company that you guys are working for. So with that said, thank you for viewing this video. What I would like you guys to do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe, tell your friends, and visit my website at www.gdtology.com. Thank you.